wanted to cover up, for some reason, the sinking of the ship. So they told all the soldiers not to talk about this with anyone. It wasn't in the papers, and people didn't know about all the men that died there that night. We somehow got to the same story that you were December 24th, 1944, a ship that pulled up alongside when this ship was sinking. And as you were telling me about that story, I started telling you that somebody lives here that was on that ship that night.
Oh.
Here, lying on its starboard side, is all that remains of the SS Leopoldville.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was cold that night. One of them nights when the stars shine and the moon shine and no wind and but oh man. Christmas Eve, 1944.
And what happened?
Well, see, I hauled food to the front lines.
Cold night? Boy, I'll say it was Christmas Eve, and the temperature was 20 below.
Oh.
It was really cold. Oh man, it's on the same level as South Dakota, France is, you know, and then when their temperatures are much similar to ours.
Oh, yeah. Did you see soldiers up on the deck of the Leopoldville?
Oh yes.
What did that look like? What did you see?
It was terrible because you knew you didn't figure a soldier would be scared to jump, but then you got to thinking how many soldiers they saw fall between the boats. If you'd be scared yourself, you would not jump. I don't think I would jump because the boats come up like that, and the rough seas just bounce them apart, and you only got that much time to jump and then land on that other boat.
So you saw soldiers change their mind?
Yes. Yes, they knew they had to because the ship was sinking.
So tell me about that night. What ship were you on?
Well,
This man was at the same place, same time as Delbert. And I got all excited and started asking him details about it.
Delbert Peterson. From Hayti.
But he had said that no one ever believed him when he said he was there, that this ship sank, and the efforts they went to try to save the men who were there. He'd never met anybody that was there that night. And luckily I was able to get these two men together and... Okay.
hi. You're Delbert, huh?
Yeah, I get blamed for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I understand you were on the Leopold.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah. But I was in the service battery, and so my driver, I had a driver, and when we loaded on the ship, we stayed in the truck.
I entered service directly out of high school in the spring of 1943. I could have had a farm exemption, but then I told my dad, who was a World War I veteran, all my friends are going, so I am going to. What outfit in the Army were you?
872.
872.
Yeah.
Is that was that part of the 66th Division?
Yeah.
I was in the 870th Field Artillery Battalion.
The what?
870 Field Artillery.
Oh. Well, we were awful close together then. I was on the 872nd service battery.
In the service battery.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they met and talked about their memory of the ship sinking.
We had a boy from Bryant, South Dakota, that was killed on that ship,
Oh.
on that explosion.
At 5:56 p.m., miners spotted two large vessels and several small LSTs. A lookout on the Leopoldville spotted bubbles streaking across the water. The torpedo struck number 4 holes starboard aft.
The torpedo didn't hit right where you were?
No, it hit, but we were, everything, there was so much excitement, you know, that,
Did you go into the water at all?
oh yeah, right.
Did you have to swim for a while?
No, we were right at the shore, well, it was right in the corner of France.
That was kind of interesting to meet somebody here
Yeah,
that was there. Wasn't it a coincidence?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and torpedo right there, about halfway across the English Channel, and whoa, it was cold. Oh, it was cold.
About 24,000 troops got on a Belgian cargo liner called the Leopoldville.
But that night it was cold. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
I know that.
This ship was hired by the Allies to move troops. 2,500 troops got on HMT Cheshire British transport. The U-486 crept down the channel and sat and waited off Cherbourg Harbor for his big chance. Rivets popped and flew like rifle bullets. The hole burst open, and hundreds died immediately.
Jim, the Congolese troops, was that the people who were in charge of it? Like the captain?
Yeah, that would be the captain's crew.
They left the boat.
They left the boat.
Oh, my
They
word.
lowered enough lifeboats for themselves and got into the boats and took off.
Oh, my word.
You know, which is absolutely a no-no for a ship captain. The ship was slipping into the sea. Commander Pringle brought his destroyer Brilliant along the Leopoldville. His soldiers leapt aboard the Leopoldville. They tried to moor the two ships together, but the high seas would soon smash the hulls. The sergeants and NCOs tried to get the soldiers to jump on the deck of the destroyer. Many soldiers, still in winter overcoats, guns and packs, tried to jump to the other ship, but it had to be perfect timing. As the sea was bouncing the two ships together and separating them again. It was made more appalling by the men who misjudged and mistimed their jump and fell to the sea between the ships, only to be crushed to death.
Oh, my gosh. How many men do you think fell in there?
Well, there were quite a few until word got around that was happening, and it scared the other soldiers so bad that they would not jump anymore.
Oh.
Because I knew we slept outdoors on a airport, bombed out airport for after we got after our LST, after we went in and to spend the night.
Oh, you slept on the tarmac?
Yeah. We slept side by side in our big old overcoats and one blanket.
Of course, then we got involved in the Battle of the Bulge. And it was cold. I thought I was going to be smart. I had a big Jewish friend. And I thought, when he lays down, I'll lay down beside him. Keep warm.
Yeah.
And it turned out that he lay down all right, but he turned on the side and left all that space between he and I in the back. Because to see him take off, it was.
The Brilliant managed to get aboard about 700 soldiers of the 66th Division before he had to pull away. At this time, Bob Hess, platoon sergeant from New York with 8 men, said, "Let's go. Every man for himself." They stood on the railing waiting for the Brilliant to come up close with the next wave. They all jumped together and all landed on the deck of the Brilliant.
Wow.
It's amazing. Commander Pringle planned to race to shore, then return for more survivors, but the Leopold sank. Skipper Stanley Lewandowski of the rescue tug ATR-3 tried to pull up the opposite side of the Leopoldville, but the lifeboats, davits, would not let him get close. If the Belgian crew had stayed a few minutes longer and released the lifeboats, Lewandowski could have managed his tug up against the railing. He was frustrated and angry as a group of about 200 men were standing at attention on the bow. He could not get them to jump. Later, as he pulled away from the water, he was told that an officer would not allow him to jump. Many of the sailors jumped into the water to help to heave exhausted and freezing soldiers up so sailors could grab them and pull them on deck. Many heroes gave their lives saving others. This disaster was never reported to the public until years later. It was locked and sealed in military classified section, not for public use. It's terrible. Over 800 soldiers perished. It had to come out someday. When I first came home, as we veterans talked, I told my story a few times, but I was stared at and left to feel like no one believed me. So I stopped referring to the disaster, as I had no reference, no proof, no newspaper articles from during the war. It's sad to see so many soldiers that lost their lives needlessly. So The only soldiers from our divisions were the ones that didn't lose their lives on the Leopoldville, and they were signed as extra fighting men to replace wounded soldiers at the Battle of the Bulge. Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you were kind of shocked because you said you had told so many people over the years that didn't believe you because it was never reported. It wasn't in the newspapers or public.
Yeah. The destroyers could not find that U-boat that night. They dropped depth charges and everything else around the Leopoldville, but they could not get that U-boat. They don't know how they got away.
So when you got into the airport, you slept on the tarmac?
Yes.
Was it hard to get up the next day?
Yes, it was, but I managed to get up, and a guy, a couple persons down, he got up right away, and we jumped around and got our circulation going, and then we got together and we grabbed another soldier and lifted him up, and then we started walking him until he could manage on his own, and we'd go get some others. There's lots of the older you got, the harder you got to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
So one good thing, when we did get up in the morning, our good old cook department had a tent set up and had coffee made and eggs and bacon and pancakes for breakfast. It was amazing how they done that.
And you never met anybody that was there that night after you got out of the service?
No.
Until you came here. Isn't that something?
Yeah, what?
Isn't that something?
Oh yeah.
To meet someone who was there that night?
Oh yeah.
Because that was a traumatic
Yeah.
night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of validated everything that you remember
Yeah.
after all those years.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate there. War is no fun.
No, it's not. Yeah.
I mean, it's something, as long as there's man, it settles a lot of stuff. Is war, see.
Yeah.